Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. How are you doing today? I hope you're keeping well and I hope you're just going to enjoy some lovely time with me today. A nice relaxed little video, but I'm hoping it may show some techniques that you've either not done or you've forgotten. I mean, we all do that, don't we? Now, at Lavinia, as you know, every month we have a challenge, and this month the theme is beautiful blooms. And I thought, well, florals, you know what? Oh, as you know, I love them. So I thought I'd do this card design, which answers a couple of your questions. A few of you have asked me to do smaller designs, so that's what I'm going to do with this one. And also, it would be perfect for the challenge. But it brings in a couple of stencils too. A few of you have messaged and said, could I include stencils a little bit more? So I take note of all the suggestions, all the questions, and while I'm here, thank you very much for those of you that message, that email. Honestly, me and the rest of the ladies and gentlemen at Lavinia, we really do appreciate your lovely feedback, and it is always lovely to hear from you. So this is my suggestion today. And you could easily change up, you could use different stencils, but also you could change up your colour tones. I just looked at my Foxglove stamps and I thought, what colours do I like to see in Foxgloves? And that's the way I went. But if you were making this for a specific person, you know, a specific friend, you could use the colours that you know they like. And this all starts as a piece, and this is one of our smaller pieces of card. Look, it's a B7. So those of you that like your smaller designs, and it is amazing how much you can fit on such a small piece of card. So I'm just filing that full packet. You didn't hear that, did you, when I popped it on the floor next to Mr. Eric? And also we've got lots of lovely stamps that work with this. The reason I went for my Foxgloves is I was looking through and I really wanted silhouette stamps. So that's why I went for these. And in this set, you get a large and a small, which again, I like. So I've put them on my blocks ready. And also, I got my Versafine Clair out. And I sort of went for a selection of colours. And I'll go through the colours first, because I know you like to know. But, you know, I'm not quite sure how much I'm going to use of each. I'm a bit funny like that. You know, it depends. No two cards are the same. So I went for a darker purple for a bit of, you know, oomph. And that's Fantasia. And then I was thinking of a lighter sort of purple, so I went for Lilac Bloom. But I couldn't decide between that and Hawthorn Rose. Or, as I typed for the other month's workshop, Hawthorn Rosemary. Honestly, do you know what? What am I like? But that sort of brought in pinky tones, so I went for Charming Pink. But when I'd actually got a lot of my stamping done, I needed something at the front to just brighten it up and almost bring a bit of blue in. So I reached for my Paradise. So that's sort of the idea, sort of things I'm going off. And I'm going to start with the Fantasia first and the larger Foxglove, just to almost give me a larger focal point. And I want this one, and again, you know me, I'm off-centre in this. Just because, like I say, you know me. And I've just got a damp cloth here and my Inky Binky, which is just a drying cloth, really. And I'm going to come in with the smaller stamp. And I just want a smaller stamp, but with the same colour. So I'm going to pop that. I'll pop that just here. And again, damp cloth, dry cloth. So let's go for Lilac Bloom next. And you could have great fun with this. I mean, as I say, there are so many different stamps you could use, but also different colours you could use, different tones, different groups. Don't forget, if you're limited in your stamps, use first and second generation. So for our new followers, second generation is just where you don't put any more ink on, so it's much paler. So it gives you another almost chance of having a lighter colour if you haven't got a lighter colour in that ink pad. Hawthorn Rose. Let's add a little bit of this. This is a great way, you know, if you've got a new ink pad and you want to just see what the colour tones are like. again, I think that's building up lovely. So I'm going to stop there for the minute, give that one a wipe, come in with my smaller stamp, and I'm thinking let's introduce some charming pink. A nice bit of bright pink to almost brighten up the proceedings. You see, it matches well, but I just love that oomph of colour. And I'm thinking let's do another first here and maybe a second just here. Because look, it's similar to the Hawthorn Rose, but slightly different. So I'm happy with that. I've got some spaces here. So this is where on my original, let's give this a wipe, keep up those good habits. And it was at this stage when I thought I just wanted something a bit more almost punchy at the front. And because it almost, although they're lovely colours, they're quite dull. Does that make sense? So that's when I went for Paradise. And like I say, I'm thinking if I stamp that here, so can you see how, for me, that lovely punchy blue, so if I just add a couple more with that, and especially where we've got, it shows up beautifully, look, where you've got either a second generation or some spaces just at the bottom, and just gives that lovely idea of that blue at the front. It just draws it and almost grounds the design. But I'm not going to do any more. Again, give that a wipe before I put it over there, just because I think that's enough. So what I am going to do is just give that a blot. Again, remember it's a slow drying ink, which is why you can put your clear embossing powder on it, but we don't want to smudge it because we're going to add our stencil next. And this, if you've not done this before, a bit of double stenciling is great fun. And I've gone for the red bricks, which is this one here, useful. I just was thinking about a wall. Often you get plants growing up a wall, don't you? And I went for laurel. Now, although if you look in my finished design, the laurel stencil looks like it's behind the brick wall. This is where it's so clever. It messes with my head every time because we put the brick wall on first. I know, mad, isn't it? Mermaid is the colour I'm coming in for that. And then I'm going to bring in a little bit of violet chalk. Now, I must admit my violet chalk is a well-used ink pad, so I did get my flying fig out just in case I needed a bit more oomph. But my violet chalk worked well. But again, you'll know your ink pads and you'll know. But there's always ways, as I say, of adding a bit more colour. So brick wall, it's important I get it straight. Most stencils you can put at any angle, but for me, I think I need my red bricks to at least be straight. Now again, you could pop this in your stamp and stencil tool and hold it down. I'm just going to pop my hand here. So mermaid, and again, I'm blending in the lid. The non-slip mat is perfect for this. Oh, look at that. Somebody put some ink on my thumb. Sarah, where are you? I bet you're hiding somewhere in here. Because as eggs is eggs. And look, I can't move that hand to clean it, so I'm going to have to craft with a dirty thumb. My goodness. So I'm going to start at the bottom when I blend this ink, because it will ground it as well. And if I've got too much ink and it's a bit dark, it'll be lighter by the time I get up at the top here, look. And I'm just circular motions. Again, I'm not holding the brush too hard, gently, gently. I want this just to be a nice background. And if I lift that up, yeah, happy with that. So again, with this hand, I'll move that out of the way. Bring in my violet chalk. Sorry, excuse me. And then over the top, I'm just going to add that laurel stencil, keeping the red bricks exactly where it is. And then, now with this stencil, I find it's best to go, sorry, excuse me, my throat was just playing up a bit today. You know what it's like. I think I've maybe been doing too much talking. So with this stencil, with it having almost pointy leaves, don't go against it because you may damage the stencil. So I find it easy to just brush in the direction that stencil's flowing. Now again, I just want to see how I've done. So what I can do is lift both stencils up at the same time, look. Oh yes, I like that. I just need a little bit more colour, a little bit deeper in the middle. So because mine's quite a well-used ink pad, I'm actually going to come straight from the ink pad because I know it's quite pale. And then when I want it nearer the edges, I'll blend that out. Right, so lift it up again. Oh, happy with that. Now I'm going to put those to one side because I'm going to spritz those and pop them in my journal. This one, I'm so pleased that it's going to look fabulous. So I'm just going to put the ink pad lid on there and we'll just clean this off a bit, look. But if I bring this closer, can you see? It now looks like the lovely Laurel stencil is behind the brick wall. And it's just such a pretty effect. And there are so many stencils you can do this with. So if you're one of the ladies that messaged me about the stencils, have a look through your stencils, and especially one with quite a large open space, and just see what combinations you can get. Honestly, it really is great fun. Now, when I got to this stage, I knew I wanted to add a sentiment. So I got my lovely sentiment stickers. And yes, you've guessed it, I was looking. I'm thinking, hello. Because do you know what? That's lovely. And that fits. I could then put this on a birthday card or just a hello, how are you card. Right, I'm going to be really silly here. Do you think it'll fit in one of the bricks? Oh, look, it will. Almost. There we go. Hey, if you knew somebody, you could put somebody's name in the brick, you know, like they do. And I just felt there was something missing here. So I got a lovely set of stamps called butterflies. And remember, with the acetate, now there's 4 on here, and I wasn't sure which one to use. So just by using my acetate, I went for this flying one here. Normally, I go for one of the open ones, but I thought, oh no, I like that one. So that acetate is so useful. So I'm going to use the darker colour, the Fantasia, but I've got to tell you, in my original, I spent ages umming and ahhing as to which colour to stamp the butterfly in. And yes, that is how sad I am. I'm sure you do the same. Have you ever made a project where you spend ages on the project, but then that little finishing touch at the end, you spend ages almost second guessing yourself, thinking about it? So, little bit of white highlight, just with the Signo pen. And I'm just going to add a couple. We've not got a moon here, so there's no specific right or wrong place, just especially on this darker, this focal point. I just think a few little white highlights. Again, just helps bring it sort of forward and gives it a bit more sparkle. And speaking of sparkle, was going to add some Stickles, and I was looking through my Stickles and I found this lovely lavender. And I thought, do you know what? That's going to do the trick. Now, my lavender is quite thick now. As you know, it can be rude. It can have wind. So I am putting it directly on my work for a change. Normally, I put it on my craft mat. So I'm just putting it down the stem of those lovely Foxgloves. But then I'm going to come in with, and this is an empty Wink of Stella brush, the first one I ever bought before I realised you could get refills. But it's perfect because I now use it to paint my Stickles on. So instead of getting another dirty finger, look, I'm just going to move that lovely glitter glue around and I can get it exactly where I want it, look. And I just get it almost thins it out a little and it will dry quicker. So if I need to get this card in the post, I know it will dry quicker. But I can just move it round. So I could even take a little bit, look, and add it to my butterfly. So I'm just going to, and I've got to be honest, between you and me, I find doing it this way, my Stickles last longer. I'm from the Lake District, you know, we don't like wasting pennies. I like things to last. Mind you, the best tip with my bippity boppity glue was when I had one, sorry, excuse me, and it was very nearly empty. So I went to Lavinia, bought another one, and do you know what? The other one's still working. So I do think the best tip, if you want to get the best out of your glue, you buy a new one, have it ready, and the other one just seems to go on. It's like when you lose something, isn't it? Or misplace one of your stamps and you think, I'm not buying it again, I'm not buying it again. You finally give up, buy it again. The original appears. So because that's a purpley glitter glue, normally I don't clean this, but with it being the purple, the lavender, I'm just going to clean it and then it's ready for me to use again on my clear. Now you could add a few little speckles if you want. I'm leaving this one without. I know, I normally add those little speckles. You see, I've got my Posca here, but I'm resisting. I'm leaving this one without. So I do hope that's just reminded you of a couple of techniques that maybe you haven't done for a while. But also I'm hoping it's given you a little bit of inspiration to enter our challenge. Now remember, all the information is on the website and the winner is chosen at random and gets £40 voucher to spend at Lavinia. Now I've got to be honest, I have a wish list. Every time I go, there's things I need. So I hope you enter. Wouldn't it be lovely if one of you could put a comment on here at the end of the month saying, Jo, I've got loads of florals. You inspired me to enter. And guess what? I won. Honestly, we'd all think that was fabulous. So you take care. Enjoy the next couple of days. Look after yourselves and look after each other. Love and hugs from me. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.